because she was saying pregnancy is painful, so you have to be strong. Mara, that time the baby was supposed to what? To come out.
Yeah.
So early in the morning around past 5, I just came out naked. He gave them the list. After they received that list, they brought that $10. Going back home after 5 years of marriage. And remember, my father is a pastor. My mom is the community.
Welcome to the Safe Space Chats podcast with Madam Speaker. My name is Perseverance Maremeni, also known as Madam Speaker, also known as the CEO of Self-Love. If you're joining for the first time, welcome to the family of healing, self-love, and motivation. And if you're returning, thank you so much for the continuous love and support that you are showing us. We are recording at number 7 Cedric Road in East Sandoval. So if you want to come through, let's say maybe you have your own podcast or you want to start something, you're more than welcome to come here and record whatever you want to record. The number which you have to, check out is going to appear on your screen. And also, if you want to come through as our guest, Bazalwane, which is very, very important for you to come and share your story and your testimony, you're more than welcome to also reach out to us. The number that you are supposed to be dialing is appearing on your screen right now. With that being said, we have a beautiful guest next to us, as usual, on the Safe Space Chats podcast. I'm going to, welcome our guest, and she's going to introduce herself to the people at home. My sister.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're most welcome, Sissy. Yeah. Please introduce yourself to the people at home.
Okay, so my name is Stella. I'm originally from Zimbabwe, but I've been staying here in South Africa for more than 8 years now. I can say 9 years. So, I can say I'm now a South African actually, but I'm originally from Zimbabwe.
But do you visit every now and then?
Yes, I go home like every year.
Okay.
I go home every year. I make sure I visit them family. So where I come from a family of, we are 3. I've got 2 siblings, 2 brothers, and I'm the only girl, being the second born as well. My mom, she's home. Unfortunately, my dad passed on 2021. So now it's just my mom. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, may his soul rest in peace. Yeah. And I've got 2 kids. They stay with my mom back home in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Yes.
And how is parenting? I think that there's a name for parenting kids that you don't stay with. I don't know whether they call it virtual parenting or digital, something like that. How is that like?
So the parenting, to be honest, so this is also related to the story I'm going to tell today.
Okay.
I didn't stay with my kids, or I didn't raise my kids that much. My parents did that for me. Okay. Because so I've got a girl and a boy. The girl, she's 22 years old, and the boy is 19 years old. So the boy, who is 19 years old, have been raised by my parents since he was 8 months until now. So I can say I've been, seeing them, visiting them, and taking care of them if I'm around, if I go back home. But yeah, I can say I wasn't that, much present in their lives. But not that because I neglected them, but the circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you look back at your maybe absence, from here and there, from time to time, and where you are now and the relationship that you have with your kids, do you think is there anything that you would change?
Honestly, we do have a good relationship with them. They respect me as their mother, but they think, like, they believe, obviously it's my mom only now, but if they need something, they always go to the grandmother. They always ask them, but not that they don't see me as someone who can assist, but they always believe that no, this person hasn't been that present in our lives, so we can rely on our grandmother. But the relationship is very good, and I also don't regret. Actually, I'm grateful to have such kind of parents who can take care of my kids while I'm not present.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you are more like a sibling to them than a mom.
So they used to say, when they were still young, they used to say, I'm going to tell grandma and grandfather that you don't want us to eat ice cream so that they can beat you. Because so you see, like that time they couldn't see me like a mother. to give me that respect. They were like, no, you can't tell us anything because you know what? We have got parents. You don't want us to eat this and that. Mom, the grandma and grandpa will beat you for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but now that they are grown up, especially the boy, he knows that I'm the mother, and yeah, he can also communicate with me regarding other things, him being the son.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, no, that's good.
So
You did say earlier on that the story that you want to share with us today, or maybe the reason why you wrote to us, is somehow related to maybe your kids. I don't know. Do you want to take us through why you wrote to us?
Okay, so the story is actually not related to my kids only, but also to my marriage life.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was once married, and the kids, they share the same father.
Okay.
I was married for about 5 years. So what actually happened is, in Zimbabwe, we do have like the education after grade 7. There is no grade 8, 9. It's like Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4.
Yeah.
So when I finished that Form 4, when I was still in Zimbabwe, I didn't pass that well. Like I remember I failed English, I failed maths and science, and so my parents said, no, you have to go back to school and, do like extra lessons for you to, so that you can rewrite the exam. So that year, I was staying with my father. My father was starting his first year to train as a pastor or a reverend in Zimbabwe. Yeah. So that's when I met my ex-husband. During that year, I was going to school. He was in the same, actually he was at a teacher's college as a student. So I met him. He was my first. I was still very young, honestly.
Because you were saying you had failed or you had done Form 4.
Form 4,
Which
and
is
I
like
was
grade
16.
11.
Yes.
Okay.
And then that time we started dating. That's the year I turned 17. But I was very young. Honestly, in regards to relationships, I was not very, you know how it is. And I was raised in rural areas, by the way.
So you were
I
not
didn't
exposed to a lot of
exactly.
things.
I was not exposed, and being the only child girl as well. My parents were strict to me, so I was not aware of a lot of things. So that time when I met my ex-husband, we started dating, but he was older than me with I think 4 years, but 4 years older than me, and unfortunately I fell pregnant. So that same year, I managed to pass the English subject, but the maths, the science, and other subjects, I failed again. So I fell pregnant, and I think for the first 4 months, I didn't tell anyone. But the symptoms, they will start to show. So it happened that I told my aunt, and she communicated with my mom, and they were like, yo, this is a problem. From where I come from, like our culture, if you are pregnant, you can't stay at home.
You have to get married
You have to go to the,
to the person who impregnated you's family.
because it's like, your father cannot see you pregnant while you are not married. You get what I mean? Like you have to go through the formalities of traditional marriage or whatever. Then, so my mom was saying you have to go to that boyfriend of yours because, if your father knows about this, it's a big problem. So I had to go. And I went with my aunties. But when I got there, they didn't accept me. They rejected me from their parents.
Okay, wait a minute. When you go with your family, your elders, right, to the guy's family, it's like they're going to tell them, to notify them about the pregnancy.
Yes.
Okay.
That's true.
So the parents are rejecting you without knowing whether...
Imagine. They said it's not for our son. So he was the firstborn and the breadwinner as well. Remember, he was training for teaching. And by then, being a teacher was, wow. So they were like, no, it's not for our son. They knew that we were dating because we were staying in that same, complex where almost everyone. So they were like, no, it's not his. Him also, he was like, no, it's not mine. So yeah, it was that day we spent the whole day with my aunties. They were saying, no, we are leaving her here. We are going back home. You sort out with your son and everyone. And you know what I did? When they left, when my aunties left, and they were like, "What are you doing here? We don't want to see you here. You have to go back home." Then I picked my bags and I went to my cousin's sister's place. That was a mistake because it was like also mean I wasn't sure of myself. Like, is he the father or is not? So that move was, it was not good. So, but now that I'm panicking and I see that they are not welcoming me, I'm just scared. I don't know what they are gonna do. So I went to my cousin's sister house, and she said, "No, you can't. You can't stay here. You are pregnant. You have to go back."
To that house of that guy.
She took me back there. She took me back there. When I went back, nothing changed. They were just, they were treating me like, I don't know how to say it, but sometimes they can cook food, they can prepare food to eat. They don't give you a share.
Ah.
Yeah.
So you were starving in that house?
I was starving in that house. And he ended up leaving the house and he went to stay with actually, at college they've got hostels. So he was now staying with a friend at the hostels. He was no longer staying at home because of me. He was like, because he doesn't want me. So, he was avoiding me. So now I was just alone in that room and I'm pregnant. I don't know what to do. There's no food. When you're pregnant, you need to eat. So, but they were expecting me to do all the chores, like everything. Even they had a big yard where they were farming. So they were expecting me to farm,
While you're pregnant.
while I'm pregnant and I'm hungry. So it was tough, honestly. And I remember sometimes I was just buying like a half bread, half loaf, so that I can eat, and maybe with water if I can manage to buy a drink.
Yeah.
Because my father used to do like stop orders, like savings money for us. So my account by then, he was still, giving me that money.
So you mean to tell me that this whole time your father was not aware that you were pregnant?
So the day I left, actually, when my aunties went back home, they told my father, and he wanted to follow me to come and, like, no, I am gonna take my child. She's still young, but his friend spoke to him and like, no, you can't do that. And he was also angry, like, I'm gonna hit that boy, and you know how fathers.
Yeah.
So his friend spoke to him, and then they went back home because he wanted, like, no, I'm gonna face him and ask why he has done this to my daughter. So he ended up knowing about it, and then later on he was like, okay, it's fine, he can go and get married, but he wasn't happy. So now that I'm living that life of like living with people who doesn't want you, who doesn't love you, you are not eating while you're pregnant, and a lot has been happening because I remember we were all together with the siblings from my father's, the in-laws, the whole family. There was a time we were about 11 in the same house.
Okay.
So I was like cooking for them, and the pot I was using was very big. Now that the pregnant is, and we're using firewood, back home. We're not using like electricity or something. We were using firewood. So it was very tough for me. I was cleaning the house. Not like I can't clean, but
You were pregnant.
I was pregnant, and it was too much for me, even washing the plates, going to the farming, and, doing all sorts of kind of work. And it was, at the same time, that no one here is welcoming you, or, you don't have someone even to talk to. There was a time I was sick when I was still pregnant like that. I was sick. And, when you are sick, sometimes, and you're pregnant, you are sick, what you want to eat is different.
Yeah.
You just say, okay, if there is bread there, if there is pap, just eat. But do you feel like, okay, this is what I want to eat? So it was very tough. It was very tough. So it happened that a few months later, I gave birth. It was around October when I gave birth to my baby. And then my husband was supposed to go to school. Like now he has finished the course, the teaching. So he was supposed to go for the first time now, starting teaching somewhere. But now by then, when you finish your course, you were deployed like far away from home, So the place where he was deployed was very far from home. That place called Gokwe in Zimbabwe. So when it was around January, he was supposed to go there, and he didn't want to go with me. And the parents also told him, like, don't go with her. She must go back home. Still, after how many months? Like, now I have a baby already. They are still like, no, don't go with her. She must go back home. So I was like, so since that I had money in my account, remember I said I had money. I was like, I'm gonna go with him. I will pay the bus fare because we're using buses. I will pay the bus fare for myself. The day he left, he actually woke up early so that he can run around, like run away from me. And then I just followed him with my baby at the back and the luggage. I followed him. He boarded a bus. I boarded that same bus. He paid his ticket, one ticket. I paid also for myself. And then he was sitting on the other seat, like strangers, like people can't even tell that you guys are your husband and wife. I was sitting on the other side with my baby. When we got to, it was like, it's in rural areas like a Growth Point, small shopping center. It was very late at night. And where we were going, it was like rural areas, only one or two buses. Once you miss the buses, you have to wait for the next day, afternoon. So we got there, it was very late at night. We slept by the passage, the veranda, the like outside. He was drinking beer. He was a drunkard. He was drinking beer. He didn't mind, like, if the baby is warm, if I was also warm or something, he didn't care. So I was just happy that at least I see him. He's here. Wherever he's going, I'm going to go with him. So we slept there outside, and there were like mosquitoes at night. And I was, with the baby, and it was tough. The following day, you are hungry, you don't have enough money, you are breastfeeding, and we spent the whole day until later, around I think 2 p.m. The bus came. We boarded the same bus. He paid his ticket, I paid mine. Then we traveled to the school where he was supposed to go, and we arrived at night again. And it was like, it was almost 4 kilometers from the bus stop to the school.
You had to walk there?
Yeah.
Sure.
You have to walk. People who were staying there, they were using like the scoot cars, where they can use it for transport. And we didn't know, so we had to walk. He was just holding his beer. I was holding the luggage, the bags with the clothes for the kids
I've
and
got
for
a picture in
myself.
my head of a woman holding a baby and a
You have
luggage, and the guy just walking with...
Yeah, he's walking with his beer. And it was at night. You don't know where you are going. He knew because he came earlier before to see the school. So I'm just following him. You're following someone who doesn't want to be with you. We got there at night, and then you can't do anything. You can't help yourself. You can't. I was so tired, like... So we got there, and then the problem was that he didn't want to buy food for us, buying food for us so that we can eat. He was just going to the store or to the bar. Those mothers who cook pap, and he just buy for himself. So there was no food in the house. So that same school, there was a deputy headmaster who was married, and we're friends. We ended up being friends. So she's the one who was helping me with food. Like, she can give me food, like, you're breastfeeding, you have to eat. And she was helping me a lot, even with soap, with sugar. Because now, remember, he was a drunkard. Someone who
But
drinks
did you
beer
guys
every day.
end up having... he allowed you guys to stay with him in the same house?
Yeah, he
'Cause he had no
allowed me.
choice.
He allowed me to stay with me, but he started abusing me. He started beating me. That's where the whole thing went wrong. So he allowed me, but he started beating me. He was abusing me. So now that he's a drunkard, he's drinking every day. In rural areas, there are those people who always, brew beer, and it was very cheap. So every time when he comes back, he was like, when you use firewood, you cook maybe around 6, 7 p.m. Then you sleep. He's back around maybe 1 or 2 a.m. The food is cold, the fire, and he was like, oh, so where's my food? You give him food. He say, I want it hot. So you have to go now to start the fire. And so if I
Warm the
say, no,
food.
I can't do that, he was beating me for that. Small things, like small things. He was beating me for that. I want hot water to wash my hands. You know, if you say, we don't have sugar anymore, or that meat you bought, it's finished, he was beating you for that. You are wasteful, people who are not educated, you are useless, and all sorts of words. So that was my life. And it started to get worse and worse and worse, because the first days was like, maybe today he's angry, he's beating me, maybe after next week again it ended up being like an everyday thing. Now I don't know what to do. I don't know everyone. Like, I don't have relatives there. I don't know who can help me. People will be like, don't you have parents? Why can't you just go back home and, tell them that
It's not working.
it's not working? But now, you're thinking like, I'll go back. What am I going to say to my parents? And so I was just like, I'll be fine. But there was a time we didn't have food in the house, and I had to go like in the village to ask for maybe a cup of meal, or or some vegetables, or maybe sugar, so that I remember there was a day I wanted tea, and there was no sugar, because I was, where I grew up, like with my parents, we had everything. You can drink tea, you can have juice, you can. So now that I can't drink tea, it was not, it was not normal for me. And I took salt and I put in the tea, the tea bags, but I couldn't drink it. You know how it is.
Yeah.
So now people, they know me. Oh, this lady, she's coming. Maybe she want to ask you for some of them. I remember there was a day this lady, she closed the door. She was there sitting. I saw her. She closed the door like, she's coming back again to ask you for food. Imagine now people, they know that you are coming to ask you for food. Sometimes you don't even have the soap to wash the napkins, because I was not using Pampers. I was using the white
cloth,
napkins.
yeah,
The
the
cloth
yeah.
one. You don't have the soap to wash them, and they are white. So you can say, can I please have a piece of soap? Can I please have, the life
That
was...
time you are a wife of a teacher who's...
Imagine, the wife of a teacher, but I was just begging. I was begging, can I please have, can I please have? Sometimes you can even have like, I don't know if you know the carpenter, the small fishes, the carpenter, you just boil them with salt and water, no cooking oil, no what. Then you eat. So the life was so tough for me, the challenges, and you are a mother, the child now is growing. So actually, I didn't tell you what happened when I gave birth to my first child. So what happened when I gave birth to my first child is the mother, she didn't like me, like I said, right? She didn't like me. She wanted me to go back. So when I was due for labor, the day I was supposed, because she was a nurse aide, the father-in-law was a nurse. So we're staying like in the hospital,
compound sort of.
Yes.
Yeah.
The hospital was less than a kilometer. So the day I was due for labor, we went to hospital. They said, yeah, it's now it was like, I think 1 centimeter, but it wasn't that painful. And then she said, no, we don't stay far. She can go back home, because, in hospital, it's not, the hygiene, as if she's doing me a favor. So we went back home, and she said, just sleep. When you feel like it's more painful, we'll go back, what? To the hospital. But I was alone, remember, because the son, he didn't want me. So now that it's time for the babe to come out, I went to her bedroom and say, please, can we go back to hospital? She said, no, you're just being scared. Nothing is going to happen. Just wait until tomorrow, because it was already at night. So now the babe wanted to come out, and the whole night I was in pain, alone in the room. She was sleeping in her bedroom. I was alone. And then she didn't even come to ask. And I don't know, must I give birth? Like, I didn't know, honestly. I didn't even have an idea, like, what's going on. So now I was like, maybe, because she was saying pregnancy is painful, so you have to be strong. Mara, that time the baby was supposed to what? To come out.
out, yeah.
So early in the morning, around past 5, I just came out naked. And the father-in-law and the other sibling, they were sitting in the, I was running through to the bathroom so that I can go bath and go to the hospital. And when I finished bathing, that's when she was like, you have to strong and walk to the hospital. And the head of the baby I could feel there's something down there. When I got to the hospital, it didn't take me like 5 minutes. And then the baby come out. They put like stitches on me for the baby to come out. And unfortunately, my baby, she didn't come out well, like as a normal child. So my firstborn, like, who is the girl now? She's like Down syndrome. It's not that bad, the Down syndrome, but she was affected. And she's a special child.
Yeah.
So
So
that's
did they say that it's related to how she came out?
like that time. Like I think I prayed. I don't know what I did, because even if you see her, I think they affected the head as well. So it's it was a disaster, and I didn't even know. So I gave birth
Like
to
it
her.
was intentional, it was calculated.
Yeah,
so that you
I
can-
think she wanted me to die alone in the room with the pregnant, because obviously anything can happen. Like you don't get help. You are supposed to give birth, but you're not giving birth for quite a long time. Because I believe if you're at the hospital, they can end up do like the Caesar operation, because the baby is not coming out. What I remember is like they just put stitches and they were like push the baby come out. But when the baby came out, she was not normal. So and I only realized it like few months later, like because I didn't know it was my first child. Maybe they saw it when I gave birth and they never said anything. But later on, when we went to with my husband where he was teaching, I was like, this baby, what's going on? It's not, when I was going to the clinics, they were like, your child, what happened? And, such kind of stuff. And that's when I realized that. And also, it took her 3 years for her to walk. She walked after 3 years. She was just a baby for quite a long time, putting the napkins and feeding her and everything. So now she can speak, but not, she can say something you can understand. Sometimes you cannot understand. But she can do everything for herself. She's not in a wheelchair. She can walk, she can clean and do everything, but she's not normal, the mind. So that's what actually happened before we even left with my husband to go away. So I think is that issue contributed to the way he was treating me as well. He didn't want to accept that we have a child who is a special child, and I don't know. I'm just thinking, but you could tell that he didn't even want to hold him, to hold her, or to show love to her that you are my child. He was every day when he go for drinking, he comes back, he's talking a lot of stuff, like he's just shouting, and he was sniffing he was saying, I've got ancestors. So now
the sniff.
yeah. So now he was using these handkerchiefs like to to clean his nose, and he was like, I have to wash them. So I was saying, no, I can't wash them for you. He was beating me for that. So I was washing them. You know how it's disgusting. I've been washing those for years, for those 5 years when I was married to him. So after 3 years, I fell pregnant again for my boy, the second born.
So when it comes to, sorry to cut you, babes. So
Okay.
when it comes to the ceremonies of you guys being officially husband and wife, all of that, you jumped all of that.
So what happened after? This happened after some months, like I can't remember how many months later, there's this tradition, like what you're saying they must go to my family and say, okay, so we have your child and stuff. Let me be honest with you. You know, the month they took with them to go to my father and say we have got a child, you know, it's equivalent to $10 US. I'm telling you, not $100 US, $10 US. I think it's around 200 rands or something.
And about 180.
Yeah, about 108, somewhere there.
Sure.
And my father was hurt. He was so heartbroken. Like,
Okay,
how
wait.
could you?
So that does it mean that when they do that process, it's not that your father names a price; they just give him whatever.
So he had a list, and they give you a list. He gave them the list. After they received that list, they brought that $10. That's what I'm saying. The whole list, and they were saying like, okay, obviously we'll bring more money next time, but under normal circumstances, it was not enough. It wasn't enough because it's like, okay, for you to book, I need 1,000 rand, and I'm coming with the 200 rands already. So you can't do anything. Like we are going nowhere.
Yeah.
You see. So my father, he was, he was a good man. He understood and said, no, it's fine. What I want is my child to be happy. If you love my child, then that's fine. I know you pay as we go.
Okay.
But that never happened,
Never
obviously.
happened, yeah.
They never came back. Instead, they started treating me like, so it was a sign that they were not interested from their parents. That was so painful, honestly. From the parents.
Yeah.
And also the person you are married to doesn't love you. So it was a whole thing. So yeah, obviously I ended up having another baby, the boy, and that one is a normal child and he's very smart. He's very intelligent. Actually, he's a genius. And I thank God for that. When I had him, it was actually 3 years later after I had my first one, and we only stayed together for 8 months, until he was 8 months actually. After I gave birth to him, we only stayed for about 8 months. Then that's when I made a decision that I have to leave. But before I leave him, there was a time I managed to convince him that I want to start a business, so that, when you are not working and someone is shouting at you saying you are useless, you're wasting. So I was like, let me at least help me to start a business so that I can also make money. So I managed to convince him that where we were in rural areas, I can get like groundnut so that I can make peanut butter and go and sell in town, such kind of stuff. And it happened. And I managed to get like 220 liters of peanut butter. And I decided to go to Bulawayo. It's another city in Zimbabwe. I decided to go there with the peanut butter. And so I was having my baby. He was still young, the boy. I was staying with my uncle. I've got an uncle and his wife there. They welcomed me. And I was staying with them for about 2 weeks. I was selling the peanut butter, but it was not working. Because, you know what, some people, they ended up giving me like some socks for the baby. I give them a bottle of peanut butter, such kind of like butter trade.
Yeah.
I didn't get the money. Like I wanted cash. And after 2 weeks, the peanut butter was finished. And you know what I did? I bought a pair of shoes for him. Like, he gave me the money for business, so I didn't buy anything for myself. I just bought the pair of shoes for him and some clothes for my kids. And I'm like, since he gave me. And my uncle was not happy. He was like, why are you buying for this bastard? Because I told him everything. You could see me that time. I was so thin. I was old Magogo because of the situation. So he was not happy. And I was like, I just thought maybe since he gave me the money. I went back. I gave him the shoes. He was like, thank you. But besides him beating me, he was also cheating on me. So he cheated on me with a girl from the rural areas. She was selling in the bar. Since he was a drunkard, he was buying beer. They ended up dating. So he cheated on me with this girl. And she fell pregnant. When she fell pregnant, I don't know what happened. The time she was supposed to give birth, the baby died. She couldn't, and it was a chaos because this girl was related to one of the teachers from that same school. So they wanted him to pay. He actually paid money. They said, those people from where we were, they were serious people. They were like, we're taking you to the chief. He was going to, he paid money because, you do this and this to our child. It was chaos, like a mess.
And you were in the midst of all of that.
I was. Still, so now I'm like, so he's also cheating on me. He's beating me. He doesn't take care of me. It was a lot now. And it has been like 5 years. And I was now starting to feel like, I don't think this is working. So it happened that one of the holidays, we came back home to the parents' house. And then, as usual, he was going to drink beer and then when he came back, he was fighting like always. So I locked the door because I know like when he was sleeping with a knife under the pillow. Did I tell you? He was sleeping with a knife under the pillow. So if you say, wake up, go and make fire, cook this for me at 1 a.m., I was running because I don't want him to beat me. I was now scared, like, what if
he uses the knife on you?
Imagine. Sometimes I was reporting to the police. There was a day he even slept at the police. I was reporting, like everyone was now knowing us.
Yeah.
Be
that couple that's always fighting and all that.
West by the school where the teachers, they were like,
sure.
So that time we went back home, it was holiday, and he came back, he was fighting as usual. The house had like burglar bars by the windows. So he was smashing the windows. He wanted to take out the burglar bars. They couldn't. He couldn't do it. And he was banging the door. The door didn't open. He was holding like a rod, this thing. But I thank God that the door didn't open. And I was just thinking, if he managed to get in, he's going to beat me with that thing.
Yeah. He's probably going to kill you with that thing.
That's the day I made a decision to leave him. That day. The following, because I locked the door, I didn't open. The following morning, I just woke up. I took my clothes for my kids and myself, because the girl was with my mom. Now I've got this boy. He was 8 months old.
Okay, so wait. After you had the boy, you took the girl to your mom.
Yeah, okay. I took the girl to my mom, and also ways that she was a special child. So my mom was like, I can help you. But there was a time she got sick. She got sick, and I didn't know that it was that bad. And I boarded a bus from there. It was very far, like the whole day journey. With my child, she was breathing like, so she was having a problem with here. When they are babies, they are here. I don't know what happened, because she couldn't breathe. And when I took her home to my mom, she was like, no, you how did you get here with the child? I've seen God in my life. I've seen miracles, honestly, because I don't know what was going to happen. And my mom took some salt and, you know what they do with the baby, so that, and then, she ended up, because the eyes were like, she was turning her eyes. And I didn't know. So, but we thank God she was okay. And, after some days, that's when I went back with her, So, I then woke up very early in the morning. I took my stuff. And that time, like I said, my father was a pastor. So they had this conference for church that same weekend. So that was the last day they were supposed to go back home. And I just woke up and went where they are. It was the same, complex. And I told my mom. I was very courageous, because all along they didn't. My parents had no clue. honestly, the only person I told was my aunt, but she didn't tell my mom. But she knew what was going on. So when I told my mom, she just say, "It's fine, you can come back home." I think she just saw my status, like, and she said, "You can come back home, it's fine." That's when I went back home. My father was, he wasn't happy. And it's not easy going back home after 5 years of marriage. And remember, my father is a pastor, my mom is my, the community, and all, it's not easy, honestly. And I just humbled myself as a child, and I asked for forgiveness to my parents. Like, I didn't want to do this. It just happened. I'm sorry. And I thank God for my parents, because they took me back to school. So I was still breastfeeding, but I was doing, these, part-time lessons, going back to school. Remember, I had no maths by that time, the science, and I couldn't go for teaching. I also wanted to become a teacher, by the way. He was a primary teacher, so I was feeling like I also want to be a teacher. But you know what? Later on, so I managed to pass the mathematics and the science, all my subjects now. I have got them. And I was like, no, I want to go to A level. And I think, actually, I want to go to university.
Yeah.
So I managed to go to A level. I went to university. I did honors degree in information systems, which is IT. And the first year when I was at the varsity, he came to varsity. That first year, imagine. And I'm like, why are you here?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, you can. And even he didn't stop there. He went back to my parents and he was asking, I want my wife. And my father was like, no, I can take care of my child. You know, what we have done and what I'm seeing, let her go to school, let her build her life, because you failed her.
Yeah.
Because if you are a responsible husband, you can help your partner to be a better person. So yeah, until he just, he ended up saying that he's not winning, and I proceeded with my studies. I graduated, and and life changed. Life changed. So the reason why I was saying my parents took care of my kids, you see, like now that I'm back, the young one was only 8 months, but now I'm going for those extra 2 years. Actually, the first year, 2 years when I was doing the A level, and the 4 years when I was doing the honors degree.
Yeah.
So that whole time, it was my parents. I just saw my kids like during holidays, and after that, now you are working, so that's why, I wasn't that present
that
in
present.
my.
Sure.
But honestly, I thank God for life, because I don't know, because if someone is sleeping with a knife under the pillow and that person is always drunk, you don't know, maybe one day he's gonna lose it. And he was beating me, and I was always in like
Yeah. My sister, there's somebody who is watching this from back home, and that person is dating, and they're experiencing for the first time, and they're meeting this guy, and they are pregnant. They believe in the same cultural practices as you. What can you say to somebody like that today?
Okay, so from my experience, what I can say to that person is, they don't need to force it if it's not working. If they are getting along, if the husband loves them, the parents, I cannot say, sometimes your husband loves you, the parents, they don't like you, but it doesn't mean you have to separate.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, if you see that it's not working, you're not getting along, no one likes you, they are rejecting you, please don't force it, because you don't know what is going to happen with that person. Staying with someone who doesn't like you, honestly, it's not a good idea, because anything can happen. Referencing to what happened to me, I just thank God that I survived. But it's not always the case that you can survive. Anything can happen. So I can say, please, if you see that it's not working, just accept the situation, that it is what it is, and then move on with your life. You can, it's not end of life actually. You can do better. Honestly, let me tell you something. There was a time I didn't have shoes. I don't need to say shoes. I need to say, those slip-ons we use when we are bathing, and I didn't have them. I was walking barefooted and I had these cracks which were coming blood because I've been going through a lot. I've been there. I didn't have shoes. I didn't have, nothing. Sometimes you sleep without eating and. So the reason why I'm saying to those people, please don't force it, because it might not end well. Don't waste your time. I feel like this guy wasted my time, because those 5 years, maybe I was supposed to, to be somewhere else.
My sister, for me, I feel like also another thing, the most heartbreaking thing in your situation is that it's not like at home, they were not going to be able to receive you back. It's not like at home, you were starving, but I feel like it's got more to do with these cultural beliefs and also the stigmas, in the society, that you have to keep up with the standards of being a
Exactly.
pastor's kid. And that is so sad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you'll be like, no, what people will say, what, because where I was, they were asking, are you an orphan? Like, don't you have parents? Because they could say like, no, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. So you are very right. You are very right. But if it's everything is going well, I say, to those people, yeah, may God bless you. But if it's not working, honestly, you don't need to force it. It's not end of life. It's, you can always be a better person, because that time, the life I was living, I never thought I would be the person I am today. I'm just grateful. I don't have, I'm not rich, I don't have much, but I'm just grateful, because I never, when you don't see any future, when you just see like where I am, that's everything I have. Like, you can't even imagine yourself being somewhere, doing something, or being a better person. I never thought about that. But with God, everything is possible. And I believe that God's time is the best. God's time is the best. Sometimes you force things like, I want to do this, I want to be, but if it's not the right time, it won't happen. And we always need to have faith that, during that time, in that situation with my baby and that mess around me, I was going to church. I was going to church, and at church people will be looking at you, the baby smelling wet, and by the baby clinic as well, people, they don't want to sit close to you because everything is a mess. But God can change everything. God can change everything, and just like a blink of an eye, before you even know it, life can change.
Yeah.
Because there are some people who saw me like it is the end. Like, she failed her life, but now it's tables is turned, and they can't even believe it. So yeah.
Where are those in-laws now?
So the in-laws, unfortunately, the mother-in-law, she passed on, 2023 December, she passed away. The father is still there, and I don't know, like sometimes you just feel like, so what are they thinking? The father-in-law told me one day, because I used to register to write the meds when I was still married for those 5 years. Every year I was registered. Actually, my parents were registering for me. Say, please, right? You know what he told me? Point blank, like, you will never pass the meds, this mathematics. You think you are also gonna be a teacher like my son? You will never. I'm telling you. He told me that. Because he was looking at me, and
Sure.
I don't know why he saw, or he was thinking that she can't do anything, this one.
My sister, I think it has got a lot to do with the fact that you were shoved down these people's throats because they never even wanted you there. So they never really saw you as anything was seen, like they never saw you amounting to anything in life, because even you being there, they didn't even want you there, you know? So I think if someone is forcing their way in your space, you don't even have respect for them. You don't even
Exactly.
see them as anything. Yeah.
Because they were just treating me like just a nobody. Like maybe they thought I don't have a future. That was that, and so
Sure. Yo, my sister, thank you so much for sharing. I believe that, like I said, the one thing that I really wanted you to touch on was for the people who are young and upcoming.
yeah,
Because I think for me, every single day, the one thing that scares me more than anything is, even though we are sharing all these podcasts every day, there are people who are still going to repeat the same mistakes that you have made.
exactly.
That's why I was saying that, what would you say to someone who is young and is out there and all that? But with that, fast forwarding to where you are now, I feel like this is going to encourage someone who is still sitting in a situation, someone who's already in it. Because I
Exactly.
believe that, like we said, that initially I wanted you to speak to those who are about to get inside,
Yes,
but there are those who are now in it,
in it.
and they want that encouragement or the motivation to get out and be like you.
Exactly.
So I just want you to take us briefly, in closing, because we are wrapping up. Or from that to you graduating to where you are now, how has that been like?
Okay, so when I graduated, that was 2013. I started back home in Zim, where I was working. I was just working there in Zimbabwe for I think for 3 years, and then I came here in South Africa 2017. So. I can say I think God had a purpose on me because when I decided to come here to South Africa, like I'm going to relocate and base in South, I started the whole paperwork, and I remember even my parents were not very sure. Like they were not. The first time I mentioned to them that this is what I want to do, they were like, do you think it's gonna work or are you going to manage? But I never gave up. I had to do everything what's supposed to be done. So the other thing I can say, sometimes you just need to believe in yourself that if other people are doing it, why not me? It's not always about like people will come and lift you or put feet. Just do and try. The other thing I want to mention is I was not scared to go to Home Affairs. Let me mention this because I know some people who use like I can't go there. I need an agent and this and that. Yeah, maybe they do that, but I told myself that I will go there, get first-hand information for me to, you know, to do whatever the whole process. So I managed to do that, and I got here, and I managed to get a job. I started working. I believed in myself that I can be a better person. I can work for my kids. I can take care of my parents as well. You know, there are no limitations because I believe that with God all things are possible. So it doesn't matter the situation you are in now or where you are now, but still you can change that situation. Everything can go well. You can, do what is supposed to be done, and until you get there.
Excuse me. Yes.
So I just say, like I said, I thank God for my parents as well. They supported me through the whole process and to become who I am today. And the other relatives as well and friends, they supported me very well, and I really appreciate and I'm so grateful. So for someone who is in the same situation, honestly, I can say the time is now to move on with life because you don't need to start there. It might not take you anyway. Just start a new life and change and see where it goes.
Yeah. Thank you
So
so much. I really appreciate this. I feel like this is really going to restore some hope and also
yeah,
just give someone light. Because I believe that as people, sometimes it's not easy for one to just be brave enough to take the step, but having to listen to someone who's been through a similar journey and they've overcome, it actually gives them courage. So
that's
I really,
very
really
true.
appreciate you coming to share with us. In closing, where do the people get a hold of you on the socials?
So you won't believe. I also have a YouTube channel, but it's dead.
I must come back
But
to life.
I must come back to life. But I use my name,
Yeah.
I use my name. If you search me, my full name actually is Stella Gono. You can search me LinkedIn, Instagram. Actually, I've got my life, my testimony, Stella Gono. Even on TikTok, my life, my testimony, Stella Gono. So yeah, even the YouTube channel as well.
Okay.
So
So
they
that
can
means that
get
we're
it.
gonna catch more on the other side, ne? You must keep
So
us updated.
yeah, I will see about the YouTube channel. I will
Yeah.
try to make it live. But
Okay.
yeah, sometimes I need people like you
Yeah.
to help me, motivate me, and yeah, I
Well, just
believe
keep
it's
pushing,
gonna
my
work
sister.
out.
You know
Yeah,
what?
it's pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. No,
I
thank you
thank you
so
so
much.
much.
No, you're most welcome, sister. Thank you
So-
so much for joining in. Bazalwane, you've heard it for yourself. Please do follow my sister. Ne? And also, maybe if you subscribe, you're going to encourage her so that she can keep going also and keep us motivated. But with that being said, thank you so much for joining in. I hope you're taking something, out of this episode. And also leave a lovely comment in the comment section down below and tell us what you think and tell us which part of your life you feel like this testimony is actually going to change. With that being said, thank you so much for joining in. I will see you guys on the flip side. I love you. God bless you. Mwah.